Absolute most critical part of search engine optimization. You can have the best crack staff of SEOs on your site doing all the improvements, but if it ain't crawlable, it won't matter. So when I go into a company, the first thing we look at is the architecture and the programming of the website, because that's the most important. You gotta fix the foundation before you can fix the house. Now, I want to talk first about programming and how critical it is in allowing access to your site to everybody. And by everybody, I mean not just search engine crawlers, not just visitors, but I also mean those that are using assistive technology. I want to talk first about what's going on with Target.com, because right now they are being sued by the National Federation of the Blind. And they are being sued because blind people using screen readers cannot use Target.com. They don't understand where they are, where they're going. They can't check out. Is anyone here from Target.com? Is anyone here from Target? You're just not letting me know. All right, good. We can talk about them. What Target.com has done, 3 things, and you're going to kick yourself when you see all 3. Number 1, lack of alt attributes. That's all. That's the number 1 thing that the people are asking for is please use alt attributes where you use images. And the judge even asked Target, please just put alt attributes in and we'll be fine. And Target said, no, we don't care about alt attributes. They're ugly. They pop up and they ruin the whole user experience. Target is the only company I know of that has gone to court in order to make their site non-accessible and non-crawlable to search engines. The second thing, image maps without alt text. The third thing is that you have to use a mouse to navigate the site. You can't navigate it with a keyboard only. So what you have effectively done has blocked this site not only to users, but you've blocked it to search engines. Because search engines need the same things that people with screen readers and assistive technology need. Now, Eric talked about Google guidelines. How many of you have read the Google guidelines? Oh, shame. Shame on you. How many of you want good rankings in Google? Are you seeing the connection? Because Google, believe it or not, they want your website. They want your website in their database. They're not in the practice of excluding sites. They want more information because the more information they have in their database, the better information they can go through and present to users. And users are their customer. So they want your website, they want your information, and their guidelines tell you how to do it. And so if you have an artist who's being difficult, just simply go to the artist boss and tell them, Google says to do this. Your artist says to do the opposite. Which do you want? Put it in their hands, because Google's telling you what you need to do to have a crawlable, indexable, quality website. What's even better is if you are familiar with the World Wide Web Consortium, or the W3C for short, they are all about standards, web standards and accessibility. And in fact, if you search for the Web Accessibility Checklist, I would say that everyone should have the checklist printed out and stuck above their desk so that they can look at how their site stacks up in terms of website accessibility. And the Website Accessibility Checklist is almost point for point the same as the Google guidelines. Why is that? Because search engines are the most disabled users that will come to your website. They can't see, they can't hear, they can't click, they can't eat cookies. They are the most disabled things that will come to your website. And so if you want your website to be open to search engine crawlers, it also needs to take into account that people will use your website using screen readers, using keyboard-only navigation, using speech-to-text, text-to-speech. They'll also be on the BART at a 1K per minute connection trying to load your pages. And so if you take all those factors into account, and ultimately, my definition of accessibility is that your site should be available to anyone, anywhere, on any device at any time. If it fails those 4 factors, it's not accessible. Let's look at Target and make fun of them. The alt attribute. The alt attribute is necessary because if you have information inside of images The search engine will not know what that information is. Neither will anyone on a screen reader. Strip out the images, and that's the joy that you receive. We have nothing but a list of links to pages further in the site. And then also, we only have a target baby title attribute, so that's really not too descriptive, but we know absolutely nothing about what is contained on this page. Now, even more egregious, which means worse, I'm learning new words, is look at the information that is contained in the image. It's all the sales information. If you are blind, you cannot save 10 to 20% on baby stuff. You can't get free shipping because you don't know where to click to get that stuff. In fact, you can't even tab navigate on your keyboard to get there because it's all image maps. So Target has gone to extreme lengths not to give any information to the search engines and not to let people use their website. However, we can make fun of other companies as well because unfortunately sometimes things get in the way, maybe politics, where someone says, I want to know what country did people come from before we let them into the website. As you'll notice, there are no other links on this homepage. We are requiring people to make 3 clicks in order to get past the homepage to the information that they need. Number 1, they have to click the drop-down menu, they have to select a country out of the 280 options that will be presented, and then click Continue. Guess what a search engine crawler will not do? Select a country and click Continue. You've effectively stopped search engines with this homepage. And you've probably stopped a number of users that don't want to select a country. However, you may say, we don't ask people to select a country, we ask them to select a language, so we're much better. Unfortunately, once you require people to make a selection and then click Go, you have stopped search engines, especially when that is the only link on the page. Now, Prince Tennis. I've been watching this website for a couple of years, ever since they decided to go to a Flash-based website. It's been a great free fall in the rankings because if you get this great Flash commercial and all this movement, you end up with the back page, which says here, select a region. Now, what's absolutely fantastic about Flash is that you can't control what gets into the search engine. Because what happens in this search engine result is you get a fantastic marketing message, select your country. And even more compelling is the select a region, Americas, Europe, Africa, Middle East, Asia, Pacific, select a country, Austria. That is your first marketing message to a searcher. And that is the first marketing message someone will ever see about your company if they're using a search engine. Are you willing to put that in the hands of Flash? You shouldn't be. You should want to control that as much as possible, which is why Eric was talking about using that HTML wrapper, making Flash an element of the page. Because don't give up control. Don't let the search engines decide what's going to be listed here. You can control it. You can affect what's there. Make a compelling marketing message from the search results rather than just waiting for them to get to your page and see your beautiful little animation. Cluttered URLs, again, before you even start on an SEO campaign, if you got this kind of stuff going on in your URL, forget it. My rule of thumb, if the URL is longer than the bar, you got issues. Don't even look at an SEO. You need to start looking at some architecture stuff. The longer there is and the more characters that are just unfamiliar, the more you need to deal with it. The question is, would you want to type this in to get back to the same page? If not, then you need to change. You need to do something shorter, and also what I like as well is something called the favicon. How many of you are using a favicon in your website? Oh, yes, all right. It's a great way to brand your website. And if you want to get an account rep's ear at an ad agency, talk about branding. This little favicon is just a little tiny graphic file. You load it onto the server. It's called favicon, favicon.ico. And every time someone goes to your website in Firefox, it automatically shows up. If they bookmark your website, guess where your brand goes? Into their browser. So it's cheap, it's easy, it's like 5 minutes of work, you got to do it. Now, a couple of things about programming. These are 2 questions I get consistently because I also have seen some SEO